Am I getting you from beautiful Canada? I would assume you're still reamed into the borders there.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, congratulations on this great new album that you've got, Power Trio. Some artists that I speak with, when they're making a new album, they know exactly what they want it to sound like even before it's written. In your case, did you know the concept and the title and all that like 3 years ago?
No, we don't really think. 3 years ago, we were putting out our last album. No, actually, I think well, the album title was hatched before we went into the studio, but it was only after we finished writing the songs. We don't really think about things like that too much, too far ahead. We just try and write a whole bunch of good songs when we can, when it's time to write a new album. So that's about as much thought as we put into it.
I Want Out is such a great opener. When you wrote that, did you know, hey, this is the opener?
No, we don't really think about, we don't write songs like that. The sequencing of the album is usually done after by JC, when all the songs are recorded. And so it just happens as we go along with the recording of the record. Some songs pop out more than others. So
Interesting there. Do you remember which song you wrote first for the album though?
yeah, I do actually. It was Blue Jean Denim Jumpsuit. I believe it's track 6. And that was written in total isolation from one another, from the opening riff to the finished demo, when Rich sent his drums put his drums onto the raw kind of metronome that we had for him, sending files back and forth. That song really kind of brightened up and blossomed. So we were able to do that. It gave us the courage, the confidence to know that we could finish the album in isolation during a pandemic.
That was actually going to be my next question. Was the whole thing written and recorded, or is there a false start before the pandemic?
Well, we had started to write the record before the pandemic. So we had about 5 or 6 riffs that actually ended up on the album, but no songs were finished or no songs were arranged. So we did, so once the lockdown hit and we had to be in isolation from one another, it was JC who said, we should really do a record. I really didn't want to do it. I wasn't in the mood. There's too much fear and anxiety that were looming over everybody to do much of anything. But he insisted and, reluctantly picked up my guitar. And I noticed that it was a nice respite from constantly thinking about the virus. And that enabled us to, kind of write the record. And we had, we usually, when we do a record, we only do records in front of each other, bashing out riffs. This time we did it in isolation. But then again, we always have things to do. We always have tours and shows, and sometimes we write in between all that. This time, there was endless amounts of time, endless hours to kind of go through things with a fine-tooth comb than we ever have before, like lyrics, melodies, guitar solos. I could really kind of take my time putting together a guitar solo or go over lyrics more so than I'd ever done before.
Do you ever write on acoustic guitar?
Acoustic guitars? No. Who does that? That's lame. Acoustic guitars kind of suck. So they really do. It's kind of like, it's kind of like, the acoustic guitar came first and then they invented the electric guitar, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, I liken it to like, well, someone made 1-ply toilet paper and then they came up with 3-ply. You don't go back to 1-ply when you got 3-ply.
Well, I was curious about your creative process there, because taking a random band, for example, Rancid, Tim Armstrong, supposedly every song he's written has been on acoustic guitar. And then if you talk about somebody like Eddie Van Halen, lots of the songs that are virtuoso guitar-based songs were actually written on the piano. I find that sometimes what the final product you're hearing has nothing to do with the demo, but it's all rock all the time with you.
Well, it's an unplugged electric guitar, so it's not an acoustic guitar. Acoustic guitars are for, I think, children at campfires, but anything after that is kind of really boring to me. There's some people who can do it. I mean, obviously Tim Armstrong and Bob Dylan and, who else can do that? Sure, but it's not for me. I mean, I'm in the genre of rock writing songs, not in the genre of like folk music. So
true. Well, this album, Power Trio, is just one of the things that I like about you and your career. Your articles are great. Your podcasts are great. Your Three's Company related podcast, great stuff as well. At this point in time, are you thinking of yourself primarily as a musician, or do you like to be thought of as a different way, given that you do other things and do those things at a high level?
No, I do all that just to kill time on the road. So that's why I haven't really been doing the podcast since December. I started to go weekly on the podcast in 2020, just simply because I needed, again, something to take my mind off constantly thinking of the virus.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to go weekly because I had, again, endless amounts of time. But once I took a break for Christmas, I realized just how much of a strain it was on I just didn't want to do it. So I only do things if I want to do it. And I started doing the podcast because, on a day off, there's nothing much to do. I don't really like to go out of the hotel that we're at or the venue on a show day. So having a little project to the side to do, kept me busy. So that's the only reason why I do any of this stuff, even writing or anything, is just to kill time on the road. Because, being on the road is not all that it's cracked up to be, because it's really just an hour and a half where you have fun, and that's the show. Everything else, 22 and a half hours of the day, that's what we get paid for, not for the show. Trying to kill time is, it's if it's your first couple of tours, you want to see the sights. But when it's your 17th time to a place and everyone at the club kind of thing, there's I don't know, it just doesn't, it's not the same. And you just want to make sure that you're busy and you can wake up and you always have something to go to. So for me, it's that podcast.
Yeah, one of my favorite episodes of your podcast is pre-COVID, the interview that you did with Lydia Chris. And it was so interesting to hear what a fan you are, how you were legitimately nervous for that interview, how you were prepped, how you wanted to ask her things that nobody else had really asked before. When exactly did the Kiss fandom start? Did it start when you were 10 years old and kept up, or you were later in life Kiss fan like I am?
No, it started when I was 6, and my mom got me Kiss Alive at the Fairview Mall at Shepherd and Don Mills in Toronto. So I wrote a letter to Kiss on the back of Kiss Alive, and then I don't know, I don't know how much time passed, but then I got a response from Kiss in the mail, and I joined the Army, and they sent me these, like, obviously they knew it was a kid, so they sent me school binders and 5 8x10 glossy pictures of them. And of course, the binders got beaten up, and I don't know what happened with the pictures. I think my mom threw it out, but I found those same photos on eBay. So I bought them on eBay only to get color photo scans of them. So I kind of got ripped off, but at the same time, I still have those scans. So that's what I got originally from the Kiss Army. And so I joined the Army when I was 6. And then, then when I was in grade 7, I think I went through a rediscovery of them in grade 7. And then I became a huge Kiss fan from grade 7 to, I guess, to now. Like, I haven't really stopped. But, the fandom goes in and out in terms of when there could be years where I don't listen to Kiss. And then, a whole weekend where that's all I want to listen to. Mm-hmm. So that's basically, yeah.
I find that anybody who's been touring and around the music business for 15 years has direct Kiss interactions that Okay. There.
Not
I got
not really. The only thing only members I've met are Gene Simmons and Eric Singer.
Hey, you only met 50% of the active lineup. You only met that.
Right, right. I guess so, yeah.
Yeah,
But for me, my favorite member is Paul Stanley. So I don't really consider it meeting Kiss until I meet Paul.
fair. Well, where I was going with that is I find that most people these days who are smartphone users have text threads or group threads that never end. So I was wondering in your case, if there's a group of people that you primarily talk about Kiss and Dokken and that era of music with, that is the focal point of the conversation.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's about 12 to 20 of us, and we're all in the music business. I think most of us are, or in TV. And we're all giant Kiss fans. And there's anywhere between 10 to 50 texts from that thread that hit my phone every day. Some of the people in the thread are very well known, and it's kind of funny. But yeah, I'm not. I can't really talk about it past that. Actually, it's kind of like Fight Club.
Well, you're not the only person who has that. I know
Yeah.
of other people who have those. I have one with some industry people that aren't outwardly going, "Oh yeah, I love Kiss." They're kind of closeted about the whole thing.
Right. Well,
So,
I understand both sides. Like I am pretty public about my fandom, but at the same time, I understand why people would be closeted because the band has done some kind of god awful things over the years.
you're not wrong about that. But is there a lot of overlap between Kiss fans and Three's Company fans in your world?
Uh, God, I've never thought about that. No, I don't think so. Or nothing more than the regular liking of anything from entertainment.
Now, who comes close to you in the grand scheme of things of Kiss? Like, are you that way about Van Halen as well?
Oh, right. Yeah, I think Van Halen might be the other band that I have a tremendous fandom for that is kind of beyond the music. It's more like then it gets into the internal, drama and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it would be Van Halen would be the next band that I do have that kind of fandom for.
And you followed the whole David Lee Roth solo catalog from there. I'm trying to gauge this because when I listen to your music, I just go, the hooks are there because this guy's clearly schooled in the greatest music ever. Please don't dispel that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love all the thing about Roth is he always kind of hitches himself to like some hot shot guitar player. So, and it's always very interesting, a player, whether it's John Five or whether it's Steve Vai. So yeah, I'm always interested in knowing who Roth is playing with. So I check in, for sure.
Got it. So Skyscraper and Eat 'em and Smile are high on your
Sure.
overall list.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I've definitely listened to those records. I own those records.
Cool. So back to you and back to Power Trio. The every country is in its own different place in terms of what the plans are. But do you know touring is going to be happening? Do you have future plans in general?
Well, let's see. So I don't know where you're at, but we're in Canada here. We've played our first show already. Last week we did Calgary, and we have 4 shows booked every 2 weeks till mid-September. So here in Canada, vaccination rates have surpassed America now,
Mm-hmm.
and so things are opening up. Uh, some places cautiously, some places more brazenly. I'm more on the cautious side of things, and I've got a lot of anxiety about the pandemic. So yeah, just want to be safe. But what can we do? We're a band that has been out of work for 17 months, and given the chance, we got to go there and say yes to a show. And then when we get there, we only find out, hopefully we'll find out that they've stuck to guidelines and stuff like that. So we got to take it show by show. but we have to take every offer that's given to us too.
Right.
It's a weird situation to be in because we need the work, but we also need to stay healthy. So we just got to say yes to everything and then see what happens when we get there, kind of thing.
Well, my last question for you is a light one that has nothing to do with anything except, well, really the pandemic, because everyone was watching more TV, more streaming stuff than ever the last year and a half. I was wondering if you had a television recommendation or two that you could pass along to somebody who needs a new show to start.
Yeah, that was the thing is, when the pandemic hit, there's all kinds of people. First we got like everybody doing playing music on Instagram, like musicians and bands were playing songs on Instagram. I thought that was ridiculous. And then, I was talking to people and they were saying the same thing. And I was unable to really watch too much TV, movies, I should say. I watched TV shows, but movies were like hard to watch just because I couldn't detach myself for longer than an hour before I started, drifting back into like, what's the latest vaccine or virus or treatment news or PPE news, back in April 2020. So I didn't have that much of a attention span. So the TV shows, I ended up watching Money Heist, which is something that I'd always wanted to watch for the last couple of years. And I watched Orange is the New Black. I've never seen that show. So I'm on the last season now. But and if I was to watch a movie, it took 2 to 3 days. So I'd watch, 40 minutes of it, and then I'd watch 30 minutes of it and 20 minutes of it or something like that. So I was unable to read any books too, because I just, you're staring at the words, but your mind is somewhere else thinking, is everybody safe? Am I safe? Or my family members safe? Or can I get food without catching this thing? Do I have a career? Like, will I ever be able to go on stage again? Constantly like a ticker tape in my head. So it's hard to sit back. Long-winded answer for something that, requires just a few selections. I guess, let's see, what did I see?
You seem like a Letterkenny guy.
Letterkenny? What is that?
Oh, it's a Canadian comedy. CBC airs it. The answer is no, you're not a Letterkenny guy.
No, but I caught up on what's that? What's the comedy show? I can't remember now. But anyways, I know there's that Netflix show, I Think You Should Leave Now.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
That one was a lot of fun. And then they just uploaded season 2. The Tig Notaro show, One Mississippi on Prime. I really like that show. I can't think, but I did see a lot of TV shows. That's for damn sure. For everything from Too Hot to Handle, which is just garbage TV. But the fluffier, the better, because anything to take my mind off, nothing too heavy. Last thing I needed to watch was a movie on a pandemic, like that was ridiculous. So yeah, I was more like fluff stuff. Selling Sunset, watched that. Caught up on all the RuPauls. So yeah, just fluff stuff that was easy to divert my attention.
Well, write down fluff stuff. You might have a song right there. But the bottom line is this: you still have a career. You've got a great album, and looking forward to seeing you live in New York whenever that happens.
So you're in New York. Okay. All right. Yeah. I was even because I have friends in New York, that was another thing was during the pandemic, you're reconnecting with friends, and some friends you haven't talked to in a couple of years. And the pandemic, I was reaching out to everyone I knew and people in New York as well. So yeah, I was like, especially, around April and May, there was all this talk about, there's not enough ventilators in New York. And it's crazy. And things shift after, you look back 2-3 months later and you go, wow, remember that? Like there was like, everyone was talking about lack of ventilators and here we are, we're okay. Same with us, like in April, there was 4,000 new cases a day. And now in July, there's, it hovers at around 150 a day.
Yeah.
So this whole thing can turn on a dime and it just leaves everyone really unsettled, because, as much as good news has arrived, you don't know if it's going to turn over in a week, so yeah, it's just kept everyone on edge,
Hurry up and wait, as they say.
yeah it's fucked up, man. Yeah,
but again, can't shower you with enough compliments here. Just looking forward
Thanks.
to everything to come, and just keep up all the greatness there, man.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, right on.
Have a great rest of the day. Take care.
Okay, you too.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.